Hey guys, I want to review some questions with you on how we can solve quadratic equations to find solutions. So there could be times where you're asked to find a solution to an equation. And when I'm dealing with a quadratic, and I know this is a quadratic because I see this x squared here. So when you're dealing with a quadratic and you're finding the solutions, your calculator can help you to do this. So I want to show you how to use your calculator to help you here. So another word for solution, we reviewed this last week when we're dealing with quadratics, is a zero. So that's going to help us because our calculator, we can find the zeros. Let me show you what I mean. So if you open up your calculator and you go to your y equals, we're going to type in this equation here. I'm going to type this equation as is because it's equal to 0. And that's important here. When my quadratic is equal to 0, I can solve it. The solutions will be where where y is 0. So let's look here. Y equals 1/3. Do alpha y equals to do my fraction. 1/3 x squared. And I hope that you're entering into this into your calculator as we follow along. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and graph this. Press graph. Oh, that's so pretty. That turned out really nice. Okay, now I'm going to find the zeros of this graph to find the solutions. It's right here where my quadratic, where my parabola hits my x-axis, where y is 0. That is what I'm looking for. So if I hit second trace, that takes me to my calc. My calculate, I can calculate the zeros here in 2. And the calculator is saying, where are they? It says go to the left of 1. Well, I'm going to go the left right here. I'm looking right here. This is where my 0 is. I want to know what that number is. Left bound, then I scroll to the right to go to the right of it. And then it says guess, where is my 0? Or I'm going to hover right where I think the 0 is for my calculator so that I can get the most accurate response. And it tells me my 0 is when x is -3. That's perfect, okay? When x is -3, that's one of my solutions. However, the question asks me for a positive solution. Is this a positive solution? No. But I see that there is another place on the graph over here where it hits and has a positive x value because it's on the right of my y-axis. So let's calculate that one. We're going to do second trace, which is calc again. I'm going to press number 2 to get to my 0, and this time I'm going to go to the left over here. Press enter. I'm going to go to the right of my 0, press enter. I'm going to guess. It's about right here. Bam. This 0 is when x is +3. So if I am finding my solution and I'm bubbling it in, I'm going to bubble in the number 3. Okay? All right, now let me show you another example. This one's very similar, but in this case, it doesn't equal 0. Remember I told you it was really important that my equation equals 0 since I'm looking for the 0, which is another word for my solution. So before it says what are the solutions, I can solve this equation for 0 and then do the same process that we just did. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, now if I want this to be equal to 0, how do I get it to equal 0? I have to get rid of this positive 81. I can do that by just subtracting 81 on this side, and then I subtract 81 on this side. So then my new equation looks like x plus 7, that's in parentheses here still. I've got squared minus 81. Now my equation is equal to 0. And I'm sorry, my handwriting looks really bad because I'm doing this on my computer. But now I can take this and I can plug this into my calculator. So let's go back. Y equals, I'm going to clear this out and I'm going to enter in this equation. X plus 7. I hope your calculator looks like mine as you're following along and practicing these steps. And minus 81. Okay, I've entered this in. Let's graph it. Ooh, this graph is not as pretty, is it? I see one solution where it crosses my x-axis. I'm going to hit zoom and 0 just to see if I can get more. That's a little bit better. I see a little bit more of my parabola, and I'm going to play with this a little bit. I'm going to move my x-min. Let's see what happens when I change this to 20, negative 20. There we go. Now I can see my graph. Okay, I'm going to go back to my window so you can see I had to get some more space on the left, so it means I needed to go further into the negative on my x-min. And so if your window looks like mine, then you're able to see this. Now, oh, there's the bell. Now I'm able to calculate my zeros. Okay, so using the same process. Second, calc, 0. And I apologize, it's getting kind of loud in the hallway. But I'm going to do this one first because all of these numbers are different. I'm on the left of a 0. I'm on the right of a 0. That's where I think it is. My 0, x is 2. Which of these answer choices has x equals 2? Y'all, it's J, and that's my answer. Okay, so hopefully this showed you how we can use our calculator to solve to find the solutions. Or remember, another way to say that is our zeros, which is why our equations need to be equal to 0 for us to use our calculator. I hope this was helpful.